Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA,
where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And if you forgot what that is, Mark is going to tell you right now.
Listen, you can forget how it is because we're just like that, right? We do the same things day in and day out. We're creatures of habit. Here's the truth. You are absolutely fucking amazing. You are. No matter what anybody else says, no matter even what you think, you are. And so the trick is,
believe that we believe that you're
the trick is to step outside of that being human, that taking on of everything that the world says and forming an opinion, and it's all just bullshit. We can step aside, we can put that to the side, and we can step into the reality that you are absolutely amazing exactly as you are.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes. And so, Mark and I, we talk about things that often people don't want to talk about.
We're talking about some today. Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get started with the daily love. This is going to be an awesome morning because we are going to be we're going to be talking about some fun stuff.
Yes.
Daily love today. So if you don't know
daily love for today, it's day 5 of the 7-day mental diet. The 7-day mental diet was written in 1935 by Emmett Fox. And Emmett was an amazing human being. And he wrote a lot of things he was a part of the New Thought movement in Christianity, like what you think is what you get. And they tied it back into the Bible and Jesus' teachings and all that type of stuff. Because that's the tradition that he came from and chose to apply it to. But this applies to anything, whatever your belief system is. This concept of positive thought produces positive results. And then what you think is what your life becomes is absolutely the great cosmic law. So we are on day 5 of the 7-day mental diet. It's only 7 days. Just got to do this for 7 days. And the premise is
a day at a time.
Notice. So it's a practice. You got to notice your thought patterns. And trust me, we're wired to think negatively. It's a known human physiological, psychological point that we have a negativity bias. It's how evolutionarily we have stayed alive all these millions of years because we have a negativity bias. So we always think about what's the worst thing that could happen.
Right.
And think about the worst thing that can happen.
Right. Here's the thing is it may or may not manifest, but here it is the bottom line is why put yourself through that torment.
So here's the thing. We know we're wired that way. We know we're going to think that way. So the trick is in the 7-day mental diet is to learn to notice, right? So that's what meditation is about. It's about creating the space of being the person, the entity that notices what's going on, right? We become the observer of our thoughts. So that's the same thing with this mental diet. Is that you actually learn to step outside of the thought patterns and the thought flow and notice what's going on. So when you notice that negative thought, you turn it to a positive thought. And so people arguing, oh, that doesn't work. Positivity's bullshit.
It works.
Yeah, well, you're immersed in negativity bias, my friend.
So how can you make that statement, right? If you've never even tried it. So here's Mark. So part of what we talk about, really for me personally, what comes to my mind is the change of perception and how we can, just like we talk about putting the goggles on and off, flipping the quarter over. So when I'm triggered into this emotion, which I was this morning, right? Just a little bit, I got, just some weird stuff just kind of happened in my life. And I'm doing something that I haven't done in a long time, which is leaving my house. And so I had anxiety. So I'm like, can't breathe. I'm like, tools in the toolbox.
But you know what it is. Like you've been down this path. You're aware that Sherry, we both know what that is. It's just an old pattern that gets lit in your head. And you feel that emotion attached to it. You feel that anxiety attached to it. But it's simply just a neural pattern that got fired in your head.
Yes.
But you're aware of it. And so you do things to pull yourself out of that particular. You light up other patterns in your brain that are different from that, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
anxious,
This
looking
helps.
forward to doing what you're going to do today.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you change that because you've worked hard to
I've worked
cultivate
hard.
being
Exactly.
aware of those thoughts. So that's what it's about. That's what the 7-day mental diet's about.
And then truly, Mark, what is a miracle? A miracle is a change of perception.
Yes.
So when I was able to perceive it from a different place,
Mm-hmm.
the energy around anxiety shifted to excitement, right?
Yeah.
So our bodies feel anxiety
Mm-hmm.
negatively and also feel it positively. Right. So now that I know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to seize the day. I've got my tool bag. I'm going to go have fun. My word for the day is excitement, right?
Woo!
Excitement. And just working through even how your body feels. So I know if my body's feeling something, that it's telling me something. It's giving me a message to pay attention.
Yeah.
The body keeps score.
The body keeps score. That's a great book, by the way. So at the end of the day, I mean, I was listening to a training last night with Tara Brach, very, very well-known PhD meditation teacher. I'm in a course with her and Jack Cornfield, training to be a meditation teacher. And, you know, her point last night was about gratitude and about writing down 3 things you're grateful for, either the beginning or the end of the day. And it's not, I mean, it's just writing down gratitude and feeling grateful for things. It's not about feeling good. What you are physically doing in your brain is rewiring your brain. When you write those things down, it's simple. It's easy. If you do that practice every day, write 3 things you're grateful, you are rewiring your brain.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing here. That's how we step out of being the human being that we are and get to the core, which is absolutely fucking amazing. And you all are.
You
we
are.
strip away that being human piece and get to being that love piece.
Yes.
Here we go. All right.
Here we go. Have you read it yet?
What?
The Emmett Fox?
Yeah, no, that was basically, it was a synopsis of it, because that's what it was all about today. And he says, I mean, Emmett says in this turning the thought selection and, you know, being aware of the thoughts and turning it around. It's like, he says, this will be exceedingly difficult for the first few days, but if you persevere, you will find that it will become rapidly easier. And it is actually the most interesting experiment that you could possibly make. In fact, this thought control is the most thrillingly interesting hobby that anybody could take up.
There you go.
It's all a game anyway. Play this game for a while.
Make it fun too. So here's a quick thing too. And I had a mind fart for a second there. So this was an interesting thing too, when you were talking about lists and gratitude. Sometimes when people are sick and suffering and they're in that space, they may have a hard time being grateful for anything. So what I'm going to shift that, because I remember I was there. So be grateful that you've opened your eyes. We're talking like simple things. For the pillow on your head, the blanket, for your ability to matter. Doesn't matter. Exactly. That's the whole point.
You're just flipping the switch from this neural pathway, which you're stuck in. Listen, you're suffering. You're stuck in that neural pathway of that suffering. That just that little chink, like you said, Sherry, being grateful for anything. Little doesn't matter. It's not being grateful, you know, in a huge magnitude. It's like the littlest thing. It will shift to a new neural pathway. It's really that, it's that real.
Yes. And then here's another quick example, and then we'll get into the topic of the day. So when I was also sick, right, one of the things that I became grateful for was being able to play with my dog. Okay, how simple is that? People take that for granted, or taking your animal for a walk. You know, simple things to shift your perception, and to also, it gives you confidence, right? So if I could go out and walk the dog, or even walk to the mailbox, right, I would be grateful for that and write it down. You know, and look at the little accomplishments that you do accomplish every day. And we're going to tie it to cannabis. Cannabis helps with that. Truly, you know, it helps your body to adapt to stress from outside stressors. Cannabis brings your body into homeostasis, and paired with other health and wellness activities, it truly helps the plant to work better in our bodies.
Yes.
Women's history. Mark's
Oh
the
my
history buff
gosh. So
here.
it's women's history. You know, Sherry started off by saying we talk about things that people don't want to talk about. You know, and in some of my friends, you know, everybody has an opinion, you know, and I, you know, have a lot of friends from a lot of different ethnic backgrounds and colors, and like, you know, I have a very rainbow life, and you know, a lot of my white friends will complain about, oh, well, you know, Black Lives Matter, you know, well, all lives matter. Well, the fact of the matter is Black lives haven't mattered for a long, long time in our system. And
Right.
still today, people of color have a different experience of law enforcement and laws and banking and just the whole systemic thing. So we talk about that. Okay.
Right.
Now, when we talk about gay and the LGBTQ,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I have people in my life that say, why do they have to be in your face about it? I don't talk about my heterosexuality. Well, because they've been persecuted for so damn long. We need to have the conversation, because the conversation, Sherry, let's face it, this is the truth.
Yeah.
Reality is created
History.
with language, right?
Oh.
So if we don't speak it, it doesn't become reality. So when we talk about Black Lives Matter and about gay people and about other things, transgender, whatever it happens to be, yeah, it's uncomfortable for people to speak because it changes reality, but that's where we're going. So
Right.
today, let's talk about gender. Let's talk about women. It's National Women's History Month. And
Yep.
so here's something that I found out a few years ago that I never, ever knew. And so when we talk about feminism and about, you know, gender discrimination, about women not being equal in the workforce or wherever it happens to be, that's a very real phenomenon.
Right.
Because up until 1974, a woman could not get a credit card or a loan on her own.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Could not. Imagine that. Your mother could not get a credit card or a loan until the Equal Credit Act of 1974 that Gerald Ford signed into law, which said that you will prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, marital status, or age in credit transactions. The Equal Credit Opportunity Act of 1974. Imagine that. So basically what it said was, if you go to the bank, I'm an entrepreneur, I have been for a long time. And for me, being a white male, I could walk into any bank and get a loan for anything I wanted, as long as I had a good story. But here, women, entrepreneurs, business owners, up until 1974, if you did not have a penis, you were not getting a loan. That's the reality of it. If you didn't have a dick, you were not getting any money. Literally, seriously.
Oh.
So a woman entrepreneur could bring in her 18-year-old son, and if her 18-year-old son signed on the dotted line, she got that loan. So you wonder why we have to continue to talk about these things, because that was the reality of the situation, and we need to just continually push past that. And so, you know what? Ruth Bader Ginsburg actually can be credited with that happening, because she started in the early 70s, and her body of work in the legal space moved that into a reality. RBG for the win.
Right. Yeah. And absolutely. And then, you know, as we evolve, and then we can even bring it into cannabis, how about, women-owned businesses, right? You have all of these, this is what I love. The cannabis plant that produces all the beautiful medicine is feminine. It is. Feminine.
And there are a lot of women entrepreneurs in the cannabis space. Yeah. Thank God. But you know what we don't have? A whole ton of people of color in the space.
There you go. You're right.
We're going to continue to talk about that. Oh, we're going to talk about it. We're going to create that reality.
Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of women's history for you.
A little bit of a tidbit, a hug, and a nug.
A throwback Thursday. So now, Sherry, we're going to shift to some history in the cannabis.
Yeah.
We're going to weave that in.
We're going to weave it in. So history. So, just like in 1974, women were able to use credit cards. 1964, Raphael Mechoulam isolated the THC molecule. So the Cb1 receptor and anandamine. Anandamine is the Sanskrit word for bliss, and that mimics THC. We didn't discover this until 1988.
Right.
Okay?
It was weird how it was discovered. It's like they started to study the cannabis plant and how it worked in the body. And they're like, why is this working? That's how it started. They're like, what's going on in the body that this is working?
Right.
So it's like, okay, figure out CBD back in the 40s, THC in the 60s.
Yep.
And they're like, well, how's it working?
Yeah, where does it go? So if we, you know, like how, if our bodies are having a response to this plant, there must be something in our body that knows how to take this plant and create those physiological processes that happens, right? So here we go.
Here we go.
The Cb1 receptor in 1988. So St. Louis University Medical School by profession Alan Howlett and a grad student, William Devane, determined that rats' brain had receptor sites embedded in their cell membranes.
Right.
Right. So Cb1, so we have these Cb1 receptors that we all have, right? All mammals have it.
Right.
You have it on all our organ systems, our immune system, primarily found in our brain, right? And then it's the Cb1 that it's abundant in these mammals is more than just the receptors, right? So they have, so we have these, it's kind of a long-winded scientific-y thing. So these G protein coupled receptors.
I love G protein coupled receptors.
I'm going to let you take over.
Awesome. Like they're the root of life. Like that's your cells just have these G protein coupled receptors. And so that's what the cannabinoid receptors are. They're G protein coupled receptors.
Right.
And, you know, to get a little deeper, they're 7-strand means they're folded 7 times. I mean, we could get deep into it.
Science.
I love that science so much.
I know it is. We are
such a nerd. Yeah. I mean, I might be the one doing tequila shots at the bar, but then I'm the one who's doing, wow, look at that.
Yes, I know.
A 7-strand G protein coupled receptor.
Isn't
that interesting, Sherry?
It is.
Anyway,
so Cb1 signaling in our bodies, right? So what it has been proven over time and continues to evolve with research is that it's critical for regulating all of these physiological properties, just like you said, including our body's stress response and how we experience pain, whether it be mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical.
Right. So this led to, they isolated the Cb1 receptor and they said, okay, that's where THC is going. Oh, we see it. Yeah, that's where it's connecting. That's where it's bonding, right? So that opened the floodgates to, okay, well, what else is going on? Because why do we just have these Cb1 receptors for cannabis? No. It doesn't make sense that we just have it for this plant, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, what else is going on? That moved us to
discovering the Anandamine molecule in 1992, which, you know, so what they realized, scientists realized that there had to be something endogenous inside of us, a THC-like compound, which I would call our inner cannabis, so to speak, that signaled these receptors. And the search was on, and they did discover Anandamine.
Yes. And so here's what I like to share on that. And you know, it's a common example that everybody uses. You know, if you have been a runner, if you've been a runner and you reach a certain point during your run where, you know, it's there's effort in the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles, you get to 6 miles, and then all of a sudden something shifts and it's no longer strain or effort at all. Like you're feeling good, the sun's shining, you're feeling bliss, you're like nothing hurts, you could go on for miles and miles and miles. That's anandamide being released in your body and attaching to that Cb1 receptor.
Yes, to give you that euphoric.
You're not supposed to run that far, and your body's saying, "What the hell are you doing? I got to give you something here. You're going to be hurting."
You know, what's so funny is it's how I look at it, which is a great thing, is that if we didn't get that bliss-like feeling when we exercised, a lot of people wouldn't do it. Right?
I was thinking that yesterday. There's
a reward.
Yeah, I was thinking that yesterday after I was doing a grueling CrossFit workout, which included running, which is, you know, if you look at my physique, I'm not a runner. Like I'm meant to push weight. Like, you know, I'm that Planet Fitness guy. You know, I lift things up, I put them down, right? That's me. I'm not a runner, but there was running in it and it was grueling. And I'm saying, wow, you know, been at this 9 years, you know, and it hurts every time and it's grueling. But you know what I felt at the end, 15, 20 minutes later? Bliss. Bliss. It was the best feeling ever. And that's why I keep going back and doing it again.
Right.
Yeah, you're right,
It
Shiv.
is. And so anandamine, right?
Yeah.
That word is suggestive of mood altering effects.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they have the similar molecular structure. They act the same way in the body. All right. So endo means in, anandamine. Phyto means plant, THC. And they're both signaling molecules that turn on that switch. You know, that on-off switch that initiates changes that regulate all of these physiological functions in our body, including appetite, mood, glucose metabolism, pain perception, and even fertility.
And sleep.
And sleep. Yes.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I love. Okay. So you have Raphael Mechoulam in 1964 isolating THCs involved in this, right? Here he is again.
Yeah.
Finding anandamide with William Devane.
Right.
The dude, the researcher who was originally in on, you know, in 1988, the Cb1 receptor, and along with Lumir Hannes, right? So University of Jerusalem, they're the ones who isolated this. You know, Raphael Mechoulam, I have to say, I think he should get the Nobel Prize.
I agree.
Mean, he's just been involved in this for 50 plus years. He's 90 years old. He's an amazing human being. He's just so humble and so kind. And Sherry, you've reached out to him.
Oh my God.
Media. You've sent him a message. And this guy who is like,
I replied back.
Godfather of cannabis research, graciously just replies back like he is in it to win it. It's not.
He's in it to win it.
Just about this. So kudos to him. Anyway, here we go.
Yeah, no, I think that that's great because here's the thing. It's like, here was my insecurity. I was like, oh, here he is. He's got a text on LinkedIn. What's the worst thing that can happen? Nothing. So I just texted him a question, and it was the hypotheses that I had, and he confirmed it and sent me, he goes, absolutely, and sent an article. And the question that I had, and I knew it, but I just couldn't find it out there, was, are cannabinoids requirements change over time as we change, right? Yeah. I had that hype, you know, and I'm like, yeah, of course it makes sense, but I couldn't find like the exact science behind it.
Right.
And so
you know, I mean, honestly, you're spot on, because it really changes what's going on in our body, right? So our body will produce more Cb1 or Cb2 receptors based on what's happening in our bodies, whether it's a disease state or whatever. You know, it's just going to do it. Like similar in hypertension, you know, there'll be more ACE2 receptors being produced in your body if it knows that it has this issue with hypertension. So your body's so super aware, you know, of itself. Yes. On autopilot. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is. So one quick story too, even with receptors being produced in our body, like I said, it's an on-off switch. So migraine headaches, right, is considered to be an endocannabinoid deficiency. And what they actually saw on radiographic images of people that had active migraines is they saw an overabundance of the Cb1 receptors actually looking for the anandamine molecule.
Right. So more Cb1 receptors because there was less of the anandamide. So the body said, hey, if there's less of this circulating molecule, I need to have more receptors to get as much as I can in.
Yes.
It's just so fascinating how
and here's another tip and trick. So this has to do too with people whose tolerance has gone up. So if you think about taking a THC holiday, right, what's going to happen in your body physiologically? Your body's going to be like, oh, geez.
Oh, no, there's less of this molecule. Let's make more receptors.
Yes. So that is why, that's one of the reasons why, you know, I do it and we encourage patients to do it, is because you are going to create more receptors. It's going to keep your tolerance low. If you engage in other endocannabinoid system activities that support and nourish it in CBD, you're not going to have that horrible effect. But I'll tell you what, once you go to consume cannabis again, you have those overabundance of receptors, you're not going to need as much.
Right.
That's what I noticed.
Yeah. I was having this discussion earlier. My wife and I did a meditation this morning, and we were talking about how we've missed a meditation the last 2 days. You know, just get up and get into the day. And, you know, she shared how, she noticed that her anxiety level was starting to creep up because she has anxiety that she deals with and very effectively using cannabinoids. And she said, I noticed that when I use my CBD and if I don't meditate, couple it with meditation, I know by the third day, my anxiety level is already starting to rise and the CBD is not as effective. But coupling it with that meditation and that slowing down allows that cannabinoid to be more effective.
Yes. There we go. And so like we always say is cannabinoid therapeutics is much more than just cannabis, because we have an endocannabinoid system that is affected by every single thing that you're doing or not doing in your life.
Yes.
Right. So a good one. This has been an awesome show. So we're going to end with some of our promos. So tomorrow we're on again at 8 a.m. Nurse Mark and the Daily Dose of AFA. And then right after that, we're going to be doing an energy healing session with Healy.
Oh,
Reiki.
don't miss that. I got to tell you, I did, this energy work and breath work. I mean, the meditation we did this morning was the 44 breath meditation with Sherry. You and I were part of Jacques Taron's class. And, it absolutely has such a profound positive physiological effect on you when you do these things. So the energy healing is just like that. It will be a profound change.
Yes. And then one last plug too, part of my excitement is that I'm going to be starting to record today and tomorrow with Joe at In the Weeds Prohibition Talk Radio. We have a new segment that's coming out. In the Weeds is coming out with a new segment, and it's called the Different Views Review. The Different Views Review. So I'm a little bit country. He's a little rock and roll. We're going to talk medical. We're going to talk adult use.
You had to bring in a Donnie and Marie reference.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I have a great Donnie story, but we'll share that at another time. That's another.
I know. Yeah. So it's going to be really exciting. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to bring in more education. We want people to understand when you look at a product, what might you use it for? What do you want to look for when you're examining a product? Is it good for medicine? Is it good for recreation? Can you use it for both? And then
not
really
all products are the same.
Yeah.
It's just not true. Sherry and I have just such a huge amount of experience doing that specific thing. This is going to be fun. This is really fun. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see you, Joe. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. Whoop.
All right. We're going to do this. So anyways, I'm going to have an AFA exciting day. How about you, Mark?
Oh my gosh. Like, I am so ready for this day. Now, remember, attitude of gratitude, Beth, spot on. This is March 4th, 2021. It's the only one you're going to get. Never going to get another one. This is your life. You choose what today is going to be. You can step outside of the norm. You can have an attitude of gratitude. And oh my gosh, yes, Joe, everybody should have a lot of fun. It's your life. Why not make it fun?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make it the funnest day ever.
Yeah. It can be that. Today can be the day that something shifts in your life. There's no reason it's not today. It doesn't have to be 5 years from now when you get to this certain place with a certain amount of money. That's all bullshit. You can have that transformation today. So I'm going to have an AFA day. I know, Sherry, you're going to. I know, Joe, you're going to. I hope all of you do. Thank you so much again for all of you who stop by and comment and are part of this conversation, because remember, language creates reality, and we're all here to create a reality of love and healing and hope and health. And so, Sherry, I got to hear it. What's it all about?
Oh, gosh. I love saying this because it has so much meaning to me. It truly is about living your best life and helping others do the same.
Yes. All right, everybody. Have that day today, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.